I have always worked. When I graduated from school, I went to work for the Thomas Wilson Lace Company, and I worked on a machine. I was a winder. In those days, it was one of the important jobs up there, running a machine. But that lasted until the war, when I went to Republic Aviation to work on the P-47s, also on machines, drilling and just general work in the experimental department. And that lasted for the duration of the war and about a year later. My sister was working at Griswold Machine Works in the office, and she knew of an opening there, which I went over and applied for and got. And I have been there ever since.
The Griswold Machine Works began operations in the back rooms of this movie theater in Port Jefferson, New York. The owner of the theater, a Mr. Frederick Griswold, had been having problems mending film that broke during projection. At the time, most splicers were cumbersome homemade affairs, and Griswold, being mechanically inclined, began work on the design of a lightweight, portable device that could quickly and accurately splice two pieces of film together. He was granted a patent on his invention on October 26, 1920. The design proved so efficient and rugged that Griswold began manufacturing the splicers in a small machine shop that he set up in some empty back rooms of his theater. Demand for the splicers steadily increased and reached a peak in the 40s when 30 full-time workers were employed at the factory, and the name Griswold had become synonymous with film splicers. But now, 30 years later, because of decreasing orders due to increased competition from larger, more modern companies, the Griswold Machine Works employs only 2 full-time workers and will soon be closing down its operations permanently.
The first thing in the morning after we come in, we punch our cards, and about 5 minutes to 8, and we get set to work at 8 o'clock. Lorraine Tillotson is the other woman that works with me, works right alongside of me, and we do very well together. And she has been there since 1947, and it's been a very nice friendship. She is single, and she lives with her brother in their home that was their parents before them. She formerly worked at the paper factory at the station, and when that closed down, why, she came down. She knew of the opening now in the shop, and she came down and has been there ever since.
In 1945, Griswold died, and his wife, Helen, headed the firm until her death a year later. The company was then turned over to its present owner, her brother, Louis Onaker, who at the time was in the furniture business in Connecticut.
Occasionally, Mr. Onaker, Lou as we call him, will help us out with the assembling of the machine, getting it prepared and ready for splicing. He also makes kits. A kit consists of a scraper holder and 3 blades, and also he helps packing, making the boxes and preparing the boxes for shipping.
Onaker, having no experience in machine work, turned for assistance to his brother-in-law, Harold Liebensberger, who was then working for the Remington Arms Company as a foreman of the machine shop.
My brother-in-law was called over here on a Friday in 1946. Sister was very ill. We got a call from him the next day that she'd passed on, and everything, of course, was left to him. So, not being mechanically minded, he asked me if I'd come over for a couple of weeks and kind of straighten him out on a few things in the shop, which I did, and I'm still here. Come this March 15th, would make 30 years. Actually, this is an old-time shop as you see it today. If you saw it about 29 years ago, it was an old-time shop. So what I mean, one motor operation, everything overhead, all the drive shafts, belts coming down to each individual machine. The first thing I did was individually motorize each machine. That meant transmissions, motors, an awful lot of electrical work. And we wound up with it as you see it today. Actually, there hasn't been any changes in the 29 plus years that I've been here.
The splice has to be perfect. We use uncoated film to test the machine. You cannot have the splice a little off or a hook on it, as we call it, and I use a magnifying glass, and we adjust the pins, and we get the film to line up perfectly before the machines can be shipped.
Actually, we make a very precise machine. There's a lot of work that the normal layman, he doesn't appreciate it. Everything is accurate to within 10,000ths of an inch. We do all our own work here. The only thing we buy outside is raw materials and castings. We do our own hardening, our own plating, our own painting, our own stamping, forming. Everything is complete right in this little shop as you see it. Naturally, over the years, there have been a lot of improvements that we haven't been able to take advantage of, where the larger shops have. Everything here is practically handmade, and it's expensive. The type help that we actually need in an operation like this, you just can't afford anymore. I don't know about retirement. I sometimes feel that it's going to be the right thing, and then other times I wonder what I'm going to do with myself. I've been active for a good many years, and not having something to go to every day and something to pinpoint your efforts on, it just makes you wonder. I was talking to Nellie yesterday, and made mention of the fact that you're working on the last of those bases, the junior bases now. She almost cried. She's been here 29 years too, you know. She just can't believe. She knew that it was coming. We've all known it for a number of months. I feel the same way she does. This is a second home to me. It's been one family owned, and it's kind of hard to visualize the fact that we just won't be coming down here anymore. But what are you going to do? Time goes on.
On January 17, 1976, the Griswold Machine Works received their last order from their distributor, the New May Corporation, for 2,000 R3 and R2 splicers. The order was completed and shipped in April of the following year. On May 8th, an auction was held, and most of the heavy machinery and furnishings were sold. The theater and factory are presently up for sale.